Alright people, quick one. I'm going to talk about these. So this is off of a Peugeot with a 2 litre diesel engine in it. It's a 2015 model. This is the turbo actuator solenoid. Now, it probably doesn't show up on camera, but you shake it and you can actually hear something inside ticking. So the problem that this van had intermittently was you would put your foot down and it just acted like it got no power, no boost. It just felt like it hit a brick wall and there was nothing there. If you drove it, it is automatic, so if you drove it with moderate throttle, it was fine. But as soon as you full throttled, it just acts like it falls flat on its face. Well, this solenoid is vacuum. Obviously it's an electrical solenoid. You've got positive and negative. It's basically pulsed by the ECU, and then you have your vacuum ports for I believe one of them comes round to the air dozer on the front, which is why it's a 3-port solenoid, and one of them goes to the turbo. This is the Febby part that we've replaced it with, that's already in there. Part number there if you need it, and there's all the information on the front. They're about 70 quid, so they're not an expensive component. I'll show you quickly where they live. So this is the engine bay of your Peugeot. There's your engine bay. This engine's in the Peugeot, the Fiat, the Citroen. It's in all these relay, jumpy, whatever you want to call them, expert vans. The solenoid actually lives down the back here. It's on the back of the engine just there. It is really awkward to get to, but I'm going to talk you through how to remove it. So it's there. The top nut is actually quite simple. You can touch it. It's just here, just behind that wiring, just there. You can actually touch it. That is the top nut for this solenoid. It sits on the back of the engine, basically like that. So the top nut, which is here, you can actually touch. This one you have to bend the heat shield down a little, fiddle all the pipes out of the way, and then you can undo it. Don't take that one off, because it is a nightmare to get back on. If you undo it just to the end of the thread, you can actually tip the solenoid backwards and then pull it out. Then obviously you've got your electrical connector here, which I just take a pick and put a pick in the top of it and then pour back on the tab and push it down, and that takes that off. And then obviously you've got your 3 pipes. The 3 pipes, as you can actually see, are 2 of them are completely different sizes, and if you actually let the pipe settle on the back of the engine, you can actually, one of them has a plastic collar around it, which is the one that goes here. These 2 are obviously different sizes, so it's very difficult to put them on the wrong way around. You would struggle. It is possible, but you would struggle. But yeah, so if you have problems with your turbo, or your car feels like it's not going very well, now the codes, there were 2 codes in the ECU, both of them for air circuit codes. And it seems to be full throttle, because if you do a lot of tests without full throttle, like the built-in ECU tests, everything comes back as good, other than the air circuit actuator. So the actuator position sensor and actuator test, that fails. Well, this is what controls it. There is another code that was related to the map sensor pressure. The initial code was actually for the position sensor of the turbo. Well, that position sensor, I looked at it on live data. Now it said that there was a circuit code problem. Well, when you look at it on live data, there was always a signal there. It never lost signal. So it's not a wiring problem. It's not a solenoid problem. Normally, what you'd see, you'll see like little dropouts or what have you, where they're not like they'll get to a certain point and the sensor will be dead and it will just drop out and nothing will happen. So what we do instead is we sort of say, okay, well, let's go back to the control side, because we know that that part works as we expect it to. Well, this is what controls all that. This is what controls the air circuit. So this is the most likely cause of our problem. Like I say, when you can hear there's something loose inside. The new one doesn't do that. And these are actually quite a common problem on these Peugeots. This one's done 100,000, so it's probably getting, I mean, that's cycled a lot in its life. So we'll get this rest of this put back together. Just so you know, to change one of those, all you need, 10mm deep reach and a flexi, pick for the electrical connector, and a 10mm spanner for the top one. The 10mm spanner for the top one is probably not 100% necessary, but I used it. And then obviously you need to take the pollen filter box out, which is, yeah, again, 10mm ratchet. So and then you can get in there and get that changed, and then see if that cures all your problems. Thanks very much for watching. Catch you in the next one.